Civilization 3 is an epic strategy game developed by Firaxis, home of Sid Meier, one of the best-known strategy game developers. Civilization, the original game, came out about 10 years ago and has been one of the most popular and influential games of its type. Civilization 3 reworks many different parts of Civilization. It's also a graphical overhaul of the game. It's actually pretty remarkable. I mean, it doesn't use sort of 3D graphics that are kind of cutting edge in many games, but it's just a very consistent, very clean sort of look to the game. I mean, the general approach to Civilization is that it puts you in the role of one of several different civilizations. For example, the Japanese, the French, the Russians, and lets you grow and take control of the path of the civilization over the course of about 6,000 years. So some of the major changes in Civilization 3 are an introduction of the concept of culture, which is sort of similar to, the sort of nationalism that has really played has played a major role in the development of civilizations over the course of history. It's a case where major wonders are some of the big structures you can build in the game. For example, the pyramids, the UN, Johannes Bach's chapel. It's really kind of a key concept. The idea of certain very important technologies and structures over the course of history have shaped the course of civilization. So here are objects that accrue culture, accrue standing and reputation for given civilizations, and kind of provide the moral backbone. So you'll have a case where there are spheres of influence, national boundaries, and cities will have kind of an area of control around them. So it's a situation where opposing civilizations can't come in and conquer indiscriminately or settle indiscriminately. I mean, there's a sense of kind of an internal cohesion, and also it really comes into play where another civilization comes in and conquers a city. It won't automatically be theirs. There's the chance that if your civilization has a high culture rating, the people that have been conquered might revolt and come back to give the city back to your civilization. So, and that's kind of a completely new concept, and also opens up a new victory condition where somebody could potentially just really invest in the whole economic and trade side of the game, and just put that money into culture wonders. So 5,000 years later, you'll have so much culture that nobody dares attack you, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you've won the game. So that's kind of a new part of the game. The combat system's been completely overhauled in a couple key ways. I mean, in several different key elements. Civilization 3 is reminiscent of Alpha Centauri. There's the new concept of bombardment with units, and just kind of a different feel to combat. It was much more involved. So that's been brought into Civilization 3, and there are a lot of new details that overall are just intended to make the combat a more fully fleshed out part of the game. There are actually now special units for different civilizations. For example, the Japanese have the samurai, the Germans have the panzer tank, and what these special units are really upgraded versions that reflect historical benefits or advantages that certain civilizations have had. So, I mean, the game design overall just tries to really look at history and find some of the most interesting parts of it and work it into a game design that really works. Trade now is actually a little bit more like in Call to Power, Civilization Call to Power, which is an Activision game, where there are trade routes that you can set up, and you can exchange several different types of resources, bonus resources, just increase the production of a given city, and then there are strategic resources which aren't required for certain types of units, luxury resources which increase the happiness of your citizens, and so these sorts of things on the map definitely will encourage you to settle different areas, and will grow, encourage you to grow your cities in certain ways. So I mean, it definitely adds a much more a stronger sense of geography to the game, and in terms of how you'll develop your cities, it becomes very central. With diplomacy, you're always interacting with the other civilizations in the game, and so the diplomacy interface has been made much more flexible so that you can really have a sense of what you're trying to get in negotiating. You can offer a few different things, and always trying to get the same thing. It's an issue, because this is purely a single player game. There is no multiplayer, play by mail, as there was in Alpha Centauri. So the designers have really tried to make it such that you're interacting with the AI civilizations in as interesting a manner as possible. So the game has been completely play tested, and we've been working with it a fair amount here, and it's actually quite interesting. It's completely finished, and it'll be ready at the end of the month on store shelves.